Alright, there we go. I have no idea why the mic was muted in that way. Anyway, hopefully now you can hear me. Let's try this for the third time. My name is Club Clifford. I race in, be racing in the Sunday Tier 3 of the Pacific Series this year, but last season I raced in Tier 4. I'll be a commentator tonight. Hopefully you can hear me now. Brilliant, you can hear me now. So for the third time, lucky third time, I'd like you to welcome you to the Tier 3 Pacific Series for Race 1, Race Spec F1 Esports. Sponsored by Go Workplace Training, who provide nationally recognised and WorkSafe approved training and licensing throughout Australia. Just to quickly recap what I've been discussing so far in quali is Tabbed F1, who we went on board with, who was actually the first runner in quali. Set a brilliant 1:26.3, which really looked like quite a flawless lap. And even right now, we've seen Tel Lunacy come in on the mediums and go into P2 with Combat Wombat QQ just behind him by just 3 thousandths of a second, which is quite close on the mediums. So there's those two are quite good laps on the mediums. We've seen 16 of the runners set times now, down to Toto22, who's filling in tonight as a reserve. Tabbed F1, don't know too much about. I don't believe I've seen him racing in any S-Race Spec F1 Esports last season. He might have possibly been in Tier 3, which is why I'm not aware of him. But we've got CN Goat in the Ferrari, who was in the Red Bull last season, who came in P10 in Tier 4 in the Pacific Series last season. El Tonki now moving up into 5th place in the Mercedes with a 1:27.2. El Tonki P5 in the Tier 4 series last season, followed by Anthro, who came P21 as a reserve driver, however. So obviously I believe he came into the series quite late on. Why his lack of points there. Hold up, man, Dan down in P7, who was our P2 holder for the season in Tier 4 last series. So I would have expected him to get a little bit higher up there than P7. Let's see if we can find anyone going for a lap right now. It looks like Tabbed F1 is on an out lap now. Here he goes for his... Oh no, he's still coming around to Cops. Pit. Goat is on an out lap. He's coming towards the start here, so we might stay on board his lap. and then possibly switch over to tabbed as he starts his lap as well. So coming down into Vale now, and then through Club. Alright, let's see how Goat can go in this lap here. In P4 currently, I'm sure he'll be hoping to bump himself up into a front row position. As we come through Abbey here. It looks a little bit slow, but it's always hard to tell when they're in 8th gear. Hits the apex pretty nicely there. Looks pretty good as well. And then he'll be coming down the Wellington straight. Decent amount of speed. He's looking good there. Oh wow, we've had some changes in the standings. Orphan Drop on the softs has gone into P2, and Deputy Dilldog has gone into P3, also on the softs, bumping down Tear Lunacy and Combat Wombat. With Hold Up Man Dan, our P2 from Tier 4 last season, now moving up into P3 on the second row. So let's see if Seeing Goat on this lap can bump himself back up to either 4th or higher as he was before. Taking that fairly well through Maggots and Beckets, but will it be enough to bump himself back up above any of these 6 runners ahead of him? Approaching now just over 5 minutes of quali left, under 6 minutes of quali left. Just looking fairly clean from Goat here. Let's see if he can finish strong here. Just the apex there as well. Alright, let's see how he does here. Move himself back up into 4th as he was before. We'll quickly jump on to Tabbed, who I believe should be coming through Sector 3 now. Let's see if he can better his time of 1:26.3. Looks pretty clean. Let's see if he can better his time. He does with a 1:26.031. That's a very quick time. I think looking at the rest of the times, he's over essentially 6 tenths quicker than everyone else in the field there. So I'd say someone's going to need to put in a pretty good lap to beat that time. Alright, let's flick through and see if we can find anyone else coming through for a lap here. It's like Goat might be having another lap here, or I'm not sure if he's just coming in this lap or he's having another lap. This is looking like another lap. He might be having another go at it, so we'll stick with him here. Looks like we have another bit of a change with Delayed, his Ferrari teammate, bumping himself up into 5th place, which has dropped some of the other sort of notables like El Tonki down to P9. Lunacy down to P7, who was quite high up at one stage, along with his teammate, oh right, Tabbed, who's in P1. So yeah, Goat doesn't improve his time there, stays P4. Let's see. Looks like Delayed's on a lap here, so we'll stay on board with him here. See how he goes for the rest of this lap. Tear Lunacy goes into P1. Well, would have been good if we're on board for his lap, but he beats his teammate by just 2/100ths of a second. So the two Aston Martins in P1 and P2 looking very strong here. As we'll jump back on board with Delayed, who's going through Sector 3 now, who is 2 tenths down, although he's gone wide there. I'm not sure if that time will still count. It definitely would have cost him some time. As we see him come through the final turn here, bumps himself up to P3, so a good time for him there. The going wide didn't cost him too much time there in the final sector. Let's jump down. Oh, Goat is off the track there. Assume he's just trying to get out of the way. Who else have we got? Oh, Glorious Noodle looks like he's had a bit of a... So let's go on board with someone we haven't looked at yet. It's Power. I'm not going to know how to pronounce that entire name. With all those numbers towards the end. Looks like he's backed off there. Let's go on board Josh Sandin, who came in P16 last year in the McLaren, I believe. He's looking pretty slow too. He's on his out lap. James Cruz, oh, he's spun it through Cops. Very easy place to lose it. Luckily gets no damage to the car. I don't think he'll have time for another lap though, unfortunately, and his tyres will be wrecked. So looks like he'll be staying down in P13 at this time. He did come in P6 in Tier 4 last year, so I'm sure he'd have been hoping definitely for a better position than P13. Let's see if anyone else up here is up on a lap. Don't believe Delayed's on a hot lap right now. These two on their out laps currently. Combat Wombat. He looks like he's on a lap, so we'll stay with him here. He's on the softs now. He's decided to get off the mediums, try and set a faster time in the softs. It's looking fairly clean through there. He gets quite a bit of curve there, probably a little bit more than he wanted. Heading down the hanger straight now. I'm sure he'll better his time on the mediums for sure. It's just where he will end up here. Can he get himself in a good position? Just moving, bumps himself up by one spot into 7th place. We've got yellow flags in all sectors. I'm guessing it's just mostly people trying to stay out of the way. We'll go on board Orphan Drop here, who's in P4, who I think he's got Hold Up Man Dan just ahead of him. So actually for now we'll stick on board Hold Up Man Dan. He was our P2 from Tier 4 last year, so I think for now we'll stick on board with him. To answer your question, Supercharge, it's Club Clifford. That looks fairly slow there for Hold Up Man Down. I'm not sure if he's backed off the lap there. But, looks like... And we'll stick with him here as he goes through the final sector. Can he better his time here and potentially get himself a bit higher? As El Tonki's just ahead of him. Ooh, he's not done that well there. That'll definitely lost him a lot of time. Yeah, he stays in P5. It looks like, as I saw, El Tonki just go across the line there, start his lap, and he's already spun it. I'm not sure what's happened to him there. He would have not been happy with that. I'm sure he would have been definitely trying to set one last time. I'm sure, as many people have experienced so far this year, the cars can be quite hard to handle, especially if you touch any curb. You'll just be going spinning. Combat Wombat, we've got some cheering for him in the comments. He's gone P7. I'm sure he will probably be fairly happy with that. On board with Anthro here, a reserve driver from last season, looking to try and better his time of P10 here with a 1:27.2. Let's see if he can do better here as he crosses the line. Ooh, cars strewn across the track. What is going on there? F1 boy 443. Well, regardless, he does better his time by one position, moves up into 9th over El Tonki. I'm not quite sure what is going on there and why there's cars trashing the track like that there. I'm not sure why it didn't ghost either. Looks like we've just got Honest Crook left, who's coming across the line now. Can he improve P15 time? No, he can't. And then again, he also crashes into F1 boy. I'm not quite sure what's going on there with that and why that's happened, but we've had a few. Oh, we've got power left here. Hopefully those cars crash across the line didn't affect anyone's quali time. Let's see if power, as I'm gonna call him, I can't understand it. Power 51 T3. It's final lap here. Looks like the final racer, and he bumps himself up into P12. So. That's it, and there's a lot of cars at the start-finish line there, strewn across the track. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but, yeah. So it looks like we will have, I believe that's everyone done now, so it looks like we'll have the Tabs F1 bumped down to P2 by Tail Lunacy, so looking like, unless there is, yeah, I believe so, that is the end of quali. So, get those results, final results for you in a second here, once they bump up on screen. So, there you have it, Tail Lunacy and Tabbed F1 in the Aston Martins locking out the front row, followed by delayed, orphan drop, hold up man Dan, who was our P2 in Tier 4 last season, followed by Seeing Goat, Deputy Dilldog, Combat Wombat, QQ, Anthro, El Tonki, Glorious Noodle, Power, James Cruz, Josh Sandin. I can't seem to scroll down that list, unfortunately, so that's all I can see for now. But main story here is that Aston Martin have locked out the front grid for their home Grand Prix, I guess. Even though we are racing online. So yeah, Tail Lunacy tabbed F1 starting on the front row, with delayed shortly behind in the Ferrari. Looks like, based on those times, the Aston Martin team could be potentially one to beat this season. Looks like we're going to have a dry race here as well, no rain, which I'm sure plenty will be happy with. Silverstone, definitely a difficult track to race in the wet, and wet race is always quite difficult, especially in this year's game also. Be interesting to see if we get a bit of drama early on. Obviously, turn 1 is very high speed. Abby can cause a lot of mishaps, especially in a new league. And obviously something that's worth mentioning is this season, all damage is set to standard. So that means that all parts of the car can now be damaged. And if you get side pod damage or rear wing damage, that obviously can't be fixed. Anyway, it looks like we are starting here. Oh, of course, we have a formation lap. Can't forget that. Tail Lunacy going wide on the grass there in the formation lap. But as I was mentioning, yes, we have standard damage this season. So that means that looks like we got a lot of combat fans in the chat, which is great to see. Always great to see people cheering on some drivers. But as I was mentioning, yeah, this season and this year in F1 2021, there's a new damage model, meaning that the entire car can be damaged, and we are running with the standard damage model in these races, which means the entire car can be damaged, including the rear wing and side pods, as I mentioned, and the underbody of the car as well, which can't be repaired, which obviously the front wing can in this game. So that's another thing to keep an eye on today. If any drivers do cop any damage, it'll be really have a really strong effect on their race. So I'm sure a lot of drivers will be looking to avoid damage at all costs here, and hopefully will be a bit more hesitant when it comes to their racing. So hopefully we won't see too many incidents today. But of course, for those of you watching, we do love a bit of drama, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a safety car today, especially with it being the first race of the season. People still sort of warming up to the game, but also I'm sure we've got plenty of sort of newer drivers in the league as well who are not sort of used to sort of some assist being off, like braking assist, etc. Also, you know, manual pits as well. I'm sure a lot of them still potentially getting used to, for those that are newer to the league. So you can see on the strategy there, soft to medium. I would be saying that everyone will be going soft to medium here unless they're on the medium. I doubt anyone will be going onto the hards, but I'm not really too sure. I haven't done any 50% races myself this year, so I'm not really sure what the strong strategy is. But I would say that it's likely that the drivers go to a soft to medium, is what I'd say is likely. But I guess we'll see here. So as the car's pulling up to the grid now, after the formation lap, and once we get all the cars done there, will be lights out and away we go. So we want gap to interval detail, we want position change, that off, and full track map. Alright, here we go, ladies and gents. Bit of a weird angle here. Round 1 of the Race Spec Esports, lights out and away we go, with Tail Lunacy looking like and getting a pretty good start there. Orphan drop. Although it does go a bit wide, but he's nudged past, so Tail Lunacy staying in P1. Looking down the field, Orphan drop's moved up one position into P3. Or looks like we've had someone spin there and it's delayed. He's spun. I'm not sure if he got contact there or he has spun himself, but he's dropped all the way down into last position. Early movers, we've had El Tonki move up 3 positions to 7th and Power up 4 positions into 8th. with the rest of the field moving up 1 due to delayed spin and or contact. Lunacy looking fairly good here early on. He's already got a 3/10 of a second, 4/10 of a second gap now. But Tab staying right on his tail here. Will be very interesting. Teammates here battling out lap 1. They come round cops into Maggots and Beckett's. Very close together. Obviously this year we've got no fuel as well, so nothing to manage there. It's purely focused on the management of ERS, and be very interesting to see how races go with that in this race as well. Ooh, he almost tried to go for a move there, Tabbed. I'm not sure if they're alongside. Looks like he tried to make a move, just couldn't get it done there. Let's have a look on board here, Tabbed for a little bit and see how he goes on this lap being behind Lunacy. Looks like he's ghosted there for a second, I'm not quite sure why. Oh, looks like we've had a few changes there. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but I'm not sure if we're having internet issues here, but there's been some big changes. Tabbed dropping down into 8th, dropping down into 10th position, 8 positions, and some just massive position changes. So I'm not sure if we've had okay, I think we're having some issues here regarding yes, we are. Okay, so unfortunately we're having a glitch here where we're not seeing who the actual leaders are. It looks like Tabbed and Lunacy are still actually in the lead, yeah, as we can see here, but the leaderboard is just displaying incorrectly. A bit of a glitch, unfortunately. So it looks like Combat had to pit, unfortunately. I'm not sure what happened to him. But we'll go back to our leaders, Tabbed and to Lunacy here. Hopefully that leaderboard will right itself soon. It looks like it might have mostly now. They might just need to finish the lap and that'll drop Com back down to the position he's meant to be in. But I think for now it looks like the leaderboard is mostly righted itself, bar Combat being in P1, who pitted. Yep, there we go. So now they're updated. So yeah, Tabbed, Taylor Lunacy, then Orphan Drop in P3, who moved up 1 position after delayed spun, who is now down in 17th, as you can see. Although it looks like Tabbed has just gotten past Taylor Lunacy there. I was asleep at the wheel, as you would say, and it looks like, yeah, Tabbed has gotten past there. They were obviously very close in their quali times. Let's hopefully get the interval time back. There we go. Should be back now. Looks like Taylor Lunacy just not in behind there. Anyway, we'll change camera here. So El Tonki, as we mentioned, moved up from 10th to 7th. Glorious Noodle also up 3 positions along with Power. We've had F1 Boy, who was crashed out in quali, move up 8 places. Along with Albino Josh moving up 13 places also. Goat has copped the first penalty amongst the higher-ups, getting a 3-second penalty very early on here, which I assume would be for corner cutting and or track limits. And we'll go back on board with Tabbed F1 leading the race here. Let's have a look down the field here, look at some sort of close battles. So we've got Orphan Drop and then Hold Up Man Dan, P2 in last season's Tier 4, right behind him. There's a bit of a gap there then to Goat, who has Deputy Deal Dog not too far behind him, but then a 1.5-second gap down to El Tonki, and a 4.5 seconds. So we've sort of got that sort of first 4 cars pretty close, then a bit of a gap to Goat and Dill, and then a bit of a gap to El Tonki, and then a big gap to those behind. And as Power goes past Glorious Noodle there, a good pass, good clean pass from him there. Let's see how they go up the Wellington Straight here. Obviously DRS should be enabled now, but it looks like Power has got the DRS, so he should be able to get away from Glorious Noodle quite easily there. So he moves up another position, 4 positions now he's moved up. Let's go back up to the leaders here, see how they're going. So Tabbed F1 still in the lead here, followed by Lunacy, Orphan Drop, and Hold Up Man Dan are all relatively close here, with a bit of a gap then to Sand Goat. I'm sure everyone bar Lunacy in that sort of top 10 will be fairly happy now, all gaining positions. 4 laps in. Oh, Tabbed gets a 3-second penalty. He went a bit wide there, track limits wise. Must have got quite a few warnings. So essentially now that bumps up Lunacy into P1. Well, actually, you know, quite a few of the top drivers there will be moving up, obviously, if penalties stand as they are now come the end of the race. So I'm sure Tabbed won't be happy copping that 3-second penalty there. Lunacy now 8/10ths back. And even Orphan Drop now is dropping a fair bit back as well, along with Hold Up Man Dan. So the two at the front starting to make a little bit of a gap to those behind them. Lunacy doing quite well to stay within DRS range of Tabbed here, and I'm sure he won't worry too much about passing him now, knowing that he's got that 3-second advantage. And he's not exactly being held up by Tabbed either, so I'm sure he'll happily keep using Tabbed's DRS train to get away from both Orphan Drop and Hold Up Man Dan here. Let's drop back through the field here, have a look how they're going. Any close battles happening throughout the field here. F1 boys moved up 8 places, and Albino Josh, who I believe came P13 in the series last year, has moved up himself up 9 spots, the most of the field so far. Quite impressive from P20. Back of the pack, he's moved himself up. Glorious Noodle there, copping a 3-second time penalty. And we've got a bit of a tight race here from P11 up to P8, I believe. With Noodle just copping a penalty as well, so... looks like a pretty tight battle between these 4 cars here. I'm sure Albino Josh will, with you know, moving up 9 positions, will be hoping to do plenty more. It looks like Glorious Noodle has gone quite slow through here. Oh, he's got DRS now. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have DRS now. Obviously, Power got the DRS there. He's looking like he's in trouble. He is on the mediums, but I'm wondering if he's got some damage because he's looking quite slow. He did cop that penalty as well, but I'm wondering if he's got a bit of damage here because he's looking quite a bit slow. We'll jump on board F1 Boy, who's behind him right now. Oh yeah, he's not looking great here. I reckon F1 Boy could have a chance at passing him down the hanger straight here. Although not taken great by F1 Boy here, but Glorious Noodle takes that pretty poorly through there. I'm sure he'll get a pretty good exit on him there. Although Noodle does have DRS and he is skipping away a bit from him here, so... anyway, we'll leave that battle for now. So Glorious Noodle, as I say, that goes a bit wide, but then so does F1 Boy. Loses it a bit coming out of there. Looks like he's slowing down. Oh, we've got a safety car here. Looks like Toto has DNF'd. I'm not quite sure what happened here. We have missed that incident. Not quite sure where the incident happened there, but looks like Toto has DNF'd. So it looks like those that had the chance to pit have come into pit. Obviously, interesting choice for those on the mediums because they've still got a long way in this race to go. So if they are going onto the softs, it looks like, let's see what James Cruz does here. He goes onto the hards. Okay, yep, that makes sense. Let's see. Also going onto the hard, Tearback Your Mum 23, correct name. Let's see what Honest Cook, who's already on the hards, does here. Obviously, we'll probably be expecting everyone to pit here. But what tyres will be going to? I assume that Honest Cook will likely go onto the mediums here. Oh no, he's going on... Oh no. Yep, he's going onto the mediums. Delayed. Let's see if he goes onto the mediums or hards. Looks like he's going onto the hards as well. Yep, onto the hards for delayed. So it looks like for those on the softs and mediums are going on the hards here. Let's see who else is on the pit here. So Combat Wombat. There's a chance for him to... He's gone on the softs. Very interesting strategy. a long way in this race to go. The softs definitely went last, so he's banking on everyone pitting once again here. And looks like in the pit lane we've had delayed crash in the pit lane. He must have forgot. Oh. And then Goat. Someone has just got a collision with Goat. What is going on? It must have been coming into the pit lane. Someone's collided with Goat and got a penalty. That's very unfortunate indeed. So it looks like some of the drivers going on the medium, some going on the hards here. Even we've seen some go onto the softs, which is quite interesting. I guess banking on another pit by everyone else, but yeah, it should be interesting here throughout the rest of the race how things go. Considering that some have pitted once and will need to pit again, while others will be on the hards and likely go to the end unless we do see another safety car. So, looks like we have had some cars potentially not even pit. I don't think Power has pitted. Let's have a look here on the detail stops. So, no, we've had everyone stop bar the top three of Power, Noodle, and F1 Boy. Very interesting choice from these lads. I wonder if they will be pitting this lap, or they're just going to hold track position. They are all on medium, so they might honestly just be deciding to hold track position on these mediums and go through to their pit and pit normally onto the softs later on in the race, or the hards, whatever they're planning to do. And for now, holding track position. So anyway, oh, and Josh also looks like he's done the same thing. Sorry, didn't see that he had pit, but he has also got a penalty. But then below that, we've got Tabbed, now in 5th, who was initially our race leader before Orphan. It looks like Telunacy's dropped down. He must have had issues pitting. Sounds like seeing Gert or someone was stuck in the pit lane or something, and it looks like he's dropped down a fair bit. Might have potentially had issues under safety car. But we've now had essentially Orphan drop, move up ahead of him, along with Hold Up Mandan and Cian Goat. Now got El Tonki just behind Telunacy. I'm sure he'll be happy to be up behind these guys now. On the mediums, interestingly, and as are all of these guys, let's have a look what their tyres are. Where is detail? Tyre. So, looking like most people on the mediums, Combat the only soft runner at this point in time. Interesting strategy for him. I'm guessing he's just trying to try and get up as many positions as possible on those softs, and then pit again onto the mediums later on. I'm guessing would be his strategy from here on out. Maybe not a bad strategy. Maybe he's also hoping that he might get another safety car later on. But for most people, they are on the medium tyre, which I'm assuming... I'm not sure if that will last the end of the race. I'm not sure how 50%ers and tyre wear works this year in the game, but from what my understanding is, his tyre wear is meant to be a lot more sort of realistic in these shorter form races. So I'm not sure if... I'm sure those mediums might last to the end, but they might be very... have very little grip and be quite worn out by the end. So it looks like most of the runners, as we mentioned, going on the mediums. We've got Goat on the hards along with Teabag Your Mum, 23. Apologies for any listeners at home. Funny name though. Bill's Battlers, we haven't really spoken about today. Haven't really seen him. He must have started lower down today. Anthro also on the hard, and James Cruz on the mediums, and Honest Crook and Delayed also selecting the hards. Looks like Delayed's pitted again, which I'm assuming he did because he crashed on the way out of the pit last time and probably was getting a new wing. Yep, so he's gone onto the mediums now. Now we should have the safety car in this lap, and it should be very interesting to watch because obviously all of these cars up front here who haven't pitted have got jumped up, and obviously probably much sort of, in no disrespect, these races are slower than those behind them, so it'll be very interesting to watch here. In fact, I might potentially go on board with Tab, who we know was our race leader before, and watch him as he tries to sort of get past these guys here. It'll be very interesting to watch the defense here. Definitely good viewing for those watching. Lots of supporters for Combat in the chat tonight, urging him on and hoping that he can get back from that P16. As those may or may not know, in Race Spec F1, as we're about to get underway here. Looks like Power's holding the map a bit, or is he going to go straight away? Oh no, we've got one more lap under safety car apparently, but that's quite a few. I'm guessing the safety car decided to wait for delayed and tried to allow him to catch back up. I guess under 50% races, the safety car does stay out a bit longer than in a 25%er. But yeah, as I was mentioning, in race spec leagues, points go down to P15, unlike an F1 race where they only go down to P10, with P1 from memory getting 30 points, and then obviously from that point working its way down points-wise. Something interesting to note as well is that all drivers are eligible to go for the fastest lap point, which I think is a good thing in these leagues, as always. So anyone through P1 to P20 is eligible to go for that fastest lap point. Although, you know, usually you would see it be those in the top 10 anyway, but, you know, obviously if there was someone to crash out towards the end of the race or is sort of lower in the points who's quite quick, then you probably see them go into the soft and go for that, especially those outside the top 15, they might go for that sort of fastest lap towards the end. Looks like delayed should be catching up slightly here and we'll be back underway. I'd be very surprised if the safety car's up for one more lap here, but I guess we'll see. It's coming through cops now. Oh, Toto, yeah, who DNFs this last session. Looks like delayed will be catching up very shortly, and hopefully the safety car should be in this lap and we'll have racing underway once again. But yeah, as I mentioned, going to be a very interesting restart to watch here with the top 4 not pitting just yet, so we'll be on older tyres with obviously all those behind them ooh, Glorious Noodle is going a bit past there. So yeah, here we go, safety car in this lap. We'll be restarting this lap. Should be very interesting viewing here. So just a reminder, those top 4 not yet pitting on those medium tyres, which I believe they started the race with, so 10 laps old, with the rest behind them on fresh mediums. So should be very interesting to watch here, and should be interesting to see sort of how much power backs up the field here with the safety car into the pits now. Let's see what he does as we prepare to go racing once again. Looks like he's gone now, so we're off and racing once again. Yellow flag in sector 3, I'm sure that's just the hold up. Let's have a look back through the field here. I want to focus on Tab. Oh, someone's gone wide there. And looks like Tabs has moved up into P4 already. So with Orphan Drop. It's Josh Sampson. Oh, contact there with Hold Up Man down. It looks like we've had quite a few come through the field already. Let's go on board with Tab F1 as he tries to trace down the top 3 here on those older medium tyres. Even a battle up front here between Glorious Noodle and F1 Boy 443. We're back on board with Tabbed F1. Lower down the field, Albino Josh in P12 now. Where's Combat Wombat at? He is up into P13, so he's moving up the field a bit. And we'll focus on Tabbed for now, who was our race leader before. Coming in behind F1 Boy here. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't get to make a pass very soon here. I'm sure we'll have good pace on F1 Boy. No DRS just yet, but look at that, he's already got great speed. F1 Boy, he gives the position to Tab pretty easily there. It's nice racing there, knowing that Tab has the pace on him. Lets him go. Alright, we got Orphan Drop in P5. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. Oh, who's that going alongside? Tabbed is moved up into P2. Let's stick on board here to see if he can get past Glorious Noodle here. I'm surprised if it doesn't take him long. He does have very good pace here on the fresh tyres, and he dives down the inside, already past Glorious Noodle. That was just almost too easy for him. Didn't even take him you know, it's only taken him, he's already 1 lap after the safety car, he's already back into P1. Now it'll be interesting to see, ooh, Orphan Drop alongside, and he gets on the brakes late, gets up himself up into P3 once again, and then Noodle squeezes him, oh, and he's forced him off the track, and that's caused him to get a 3-second time penalty. I'm sure he'll be fuming with that one, but he's back up into P2 now. As we saw, who was it that went off? Oh dear, lots of F1 boy causing chaos here. Hold up man Dan slots in behind him now with Glorious Noodle alongside. Oh, and he's almost pushing him off there. Josh Sandon uses that opportunity to jump past Hold Up Man Dan there. This is great, exciting racing to watch here. Look at all these races bunched up here. We've got El Tonki back in P8. We'll go back on board with, oh my goodness, Cian Goat forced to go wide there, which has allowed El Tonki to move up past him, and then El Tonki gets clipped by Hold Up Man Dan and he's spun! Oh no, that's disaster for El Tonki. Oh, he was having a good race and getting back into it there. Looks like someone else has spun there as well. Power it was. Anyway, let's move back up towards the front here. Hold Up Man Dan in P5 now. Fortunately, we've got some bad sounds there. F1 boys, looks like he's created a bit of a gap here. In P3. Doesn't have a penalty either, so no, he could do alright for himself here. Obviously still has to pit in this race, which a lot of these others don't. But you got to feel sorry for El Tonki there. He was getting himself back into a good position as Anthro picks up a 3-second time penalty. You got to feel sorry for El Tonki there. I was getting himself in a good position. Just looks like a bit of confusion between him and Goat there, and it looked like he just clipped the back of Goat's wheel, which caused him to spin. We've had Deputy Dildog go past Hold Up Man Dan. Interesting. I wonder if Hold Up Man Dan maybe copped a bit of damage in sort of those proceedings before. Could be interesting. See how he goes. He is looking kind of slow through there. I wonder if he's gotten some damage. As Cian Goat goes past him now as well. Oh, he's definitely got some damage. He's definitely got some damage. That's disaster for him as Bill's Battlers goes alongside him now. Will he let him? Oh yeah, he's lost a ton of pace. We've got yellow flags in sector 2 and 3. As Honest Crook now goes alongside him as well. Oh my goodness gracious me. This is incredible racing here. We'll see if Dan goes to the pit. He does, so he indeed has damage and he is forced to pit. Anthro, look at this chain of cars here. We'll quickly jump back up to the top here to see. Oh, we've got a virtual safety car now. As it looks like, we jump down another DNF. Combat Wombat is out of the race. His fans will hate to see that. Anyway, we've got a virtual safety car here. Unfortunately, that is the end of the race for Combat, who looks like he had a crash near the pit entry, sorry. And that's disaster for him. It's only a VSC for now. Looks like some people have taken that opportunity to pit Teabag your mum and Hold Up Man Dan, who actually had damage. And now Glorious Noodle, 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That one hurts. You never like to get those penalties. So unfortunately for the fans of Combat Wombat in the chat, he has DNF'd and he has left the session now. Looks like it'll just be a VSC for now with his car cleared, and we're back racing. Here we go. So Tabbed in the lead, followed by Orphan Drop. F1 Boy then 4 seconds back, followed by Josh Sandben, who of course came P16 in the last series and hoping to hold that P4. Obviously still a long way to go here. Followed by Deputy Dildog, Cian Goat, Albino Josh, and Honest Crook. El Tonki has managed to fight his way back up into P11 already. We'll actually get on board with him here as he looks like Bill's Battlers went a bit wide there. I was wondering if he was going to get past him. We'll stick at him for a little bit here, but potentially bump up to Deputy Dildog, who is not so far behind Josh Samden now. Samben, sorry, I keep saying that name wrong. El Tonki. We'll move up to Deputy Dildog, who's getting fairly close behind Josh Samben now. Even Orphan Drop is actually getting pretty close up to the front here, so we're going to jump on board with him in this battle here. He's got DRS down the straight in the battle for P1 here. Obviously with these two battling out for P1, we'll stick on board with these two for a little bit here. These two were in P2 and P3 to start the race, I believe, from memory. So I'm sure they've both got good pace. And Orphan Drop cops another penalty there. I believe that might be his second 3-second penalty, unfortunately for him. So I think he will have 6 seconds of penalties. Is there a way for me to see penalties here? There is. So yeah, Orphan Drop now, 6 seconds. But he's about to go past. With DRS, will he be able to go past? Let's change camera. Oh, they're alongside. He gets the inside line. And he's into P1. However, as we mentioned, he does have 6 seconds of penalties, so Tab's essentially in front of him here still. Tabbed, I'm sure, will be aware of that. He sets the fastest lap as well on the medium tyres. Very interesting. I'm sure Tabbed will be aware, as we have someone coming out of the pit, so that he does have more seconds of penalties than him, so I'm sure he won't be too worried at this point in the race. With just 10 laps in the race to go here now, let's have a look back through the field. F1 boy still holding on to that P3. And in fact, he's got a 3-second gap to Dippity Dilldog, who has Josh just 1.4 seconds behind him, followed by Honest Crook, who's into DRS range here, but I'm sure he won't be able to catch him along the Wellington Straight just there. Cian Goat just behind him, second behind. Albino Josh right on his tail with DRS. Might try to make a move here. Let's just stick on board for a second here. Glorious Noodle picking up another 3-second time penalty there. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. It looks like someone has gone off. We've got another safety car. Who was it that went off there? That is Orphan Drop, who was in P1. He must have spun. Let's see if we can see his car through here, through this sector. Or is it earlier in the sector? Where is his car? Let's see if we can see his car. No, that car's already passed it. Let's see if we can potentially see where his car was. I think it was... must have been coming out of Cops. I'm not sure if there was a fight between Tabs and Cops and there was a DNF there. Let's have a look at the chat. Held up man Dan saying a bit of tanking going on here. I'm not quite sure what happened to Orphan Drop there, whether he just spun himself through Cops or what. Anyway, we've got another safety car, so obviously a bunch of people diving into the pits. Albino Josh unfortunately picking up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Looks like some starting to stay out though with just 9 laps left in the race. Or they just were sort of too far ahead to... Nope, looks like they've decided to not pit. Probably a wise decision considering Tab's pace and lack of time left in the race, but for everyone else, they've decided to make that pit stop, go into the softs, which really could be the smart decision here. We might still see Tabbed pit this lap potentially and go onto those softs, as well as the other 3 that didn't pit, but let's have a look through the field. Looks like everyone will be going on those soft tyres, which I'm sure will be a surprise to nobody with just 9 laps to go. Unfortunately for the fans of Combat Wombat, if they're still in the chat, it would have been a great opportunity for Combat to get back into the race here once again, but no luck for him as he's DNF'd out of this race. We've now had 3 DNFs with Orphan Drop, who was in P1, albeit with 6 seconds of time penalties. Crash out of the race at Cops. We unfortunately didn't capture that one on the live stream here, but nonetheless he has DNF'd, creating that second safety car here, and we'll go back on board with our leader. Tab 2 has been the leader for a lot of this race. We'll see if he does jump into the pits here. It will be very interesting to see. I don't know if he will. I think he'll lose too much track position if he does. So I would be surprised if he does jump into the pits here, because he's going to lose a lot of track position to those behind him who have pit and caught him here. So I'd expect him to stay out here. But I guess we will see. Yep, so not jumping into the pit. So it looks like our top 3, I believe, has deciding to stick on the mediums. Let's have a look here. Yep, so it looks like... Oh, and Hold Up Man Dan obviously not pitting under this safety car, who pitted just recently with that damage. Also sticking on the mediums to hold that track position in P6. Bill's Battler is interesting, going the mediums towards the end of the race. I'm not quite sure, maybe he accidentally went on the mediums instead of the softs. Maybe he was on the hards, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, it looks like we'll have our top 3 on older mediums, followed by F1 Boy and Honest Crook on the newer softs, along with Cian Goat, El Tonki and Josh Sambin, who I expect to all make a push for podium spots from those positions. With the soft tyres on, but I guess we'll have to see how things will pan out towards the end here. Anyway, let's put that back onto position change. Actually, it would be good to see if you can see the penalties there. So Tabbed 3 seconds, Deputy 5, and Anthro also 3, which also is not great for them in wanting to hold on to those podium positions with a lot of the people like El Tonki and Hold Up Man Dan with no time penalties. So it could be a way for them to get back into this race and potentially end up with a podium position. I'm expecting to see the safety car in this lap, although we've just seen Glorious Noodle pick up another 5-second penalty with a collision with Anthro. I'm not quite sure how that's happened considering Anthro's up in P3 and Glorious is in P17. I guess there could be some cars. Anyway, safety car is in this lap. Let's hide that. Hide that as well. Alright. Safety car will be in this lap. We will have... How many laps of racing will we have left? 7 laps of racing with the safety car in. Let's see how much Tabbed holds it up here, or whether he'll just go straight away. Looks like he is ready to get going. He gets us underway straight away. I'm going to jump back to Anthro here so we can see a little bit more as things come through here. Looks like a pretty clean start here. Although we had one poop, we went off there. We had someone go off there. Oh, that must be Glorious Noodle. And yeah, as he's ghosted, yep, that makes sense. Anyway, let's go back up the top here. I want to pay attention to F1 boys on the softs here. Rest on the mediums. Actually, we're going to go aboard Hold Up Man Dan, who's on the... Oh, that's right, he is on the mediums. Although he doesn't have any time penalties, so and he's on the fresher medium tyres as well, so I expect him to get close to a podium position here, potentially. Especially with Anthro on 8 seconds of time penalties. He just needs to get ahead of these two in front of him as well. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2, not quite sure. Look, I don't see any cars off the track. As Hold Up Man Dan goes a bit wide there. Let's look up. Here's an interesting battle. El Tonki and Cian Goat, both on the newer softer tyres. They'll be both wanting to push towards those podium positions. Josh dropping a bit behind him now. I'm sure El Tonki really pushing and trying to get closer to those podium positions here. He has to let off a bit there. Just a little bit slower than him. We know El Tonki's got very good pace and got a bit unlucky before clipping Goat and spinning, so I'm sure he'll be a bit wary of Goat as well here. Anyway, let's jump back up the field a bit here. You can see another 3-second penalty for Teabag Your Mum 23. I can't help, I always laugh at that one. There's some really close racing between Anthro here. Teabag Your Mum down in 16, so he's obviously not in the podium positions here. Tabbed is really jumping away from the field here. Despite the 3-second penalties, he might be okay, and looks like he's going to be okay to hold on to this. As Delayed cops a 3-second time penalty, taking up the total penalties to 6 seconds. Looks like Tabbed might be okay here in holding on to that P1. As we've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. Can't see anybody off the track at this point in time on my mini-map. Although I do see James Cruz, it looks like, may have come off. He's quite behind the field. As F1 Boy is DNF'd and out of the race by the looks of it. Wonder what's happened to him there. Looks like he out of the race. Is Honest Crook. There must have been a collision between F1 Boy and Honest Crook, as they've both look like they've crashed there. I doubt we'll see another safety car as we've already got the green flag back underway. Hold Up Man Dan has made his way up into 4th place, obviously with Honest Crook and F1 Boy crashing there. I'd expect him to make well, he's essentially already into the podium positions, and in fact he is into essentially almost P2 already with those time penalties for Anthro and Deputy Dilldog. He just needs to inch a little bit closer as we get a yellow flag in Sector 1. What is going on here? It's just very close racing back here as Lunacy is trying to fight his way back into the race after being in P1 earlier in this race. He's trying to fight his way back into the points as much as possible. He's got no penalties here, so I'm sure he'll be wanting to do that. Let's go on board with him here. He's trying to get past Albino. Josh, who's made up a lot of positions in this race. He goes down the inside. Has to take it pretty narrowly. See if he can get past on the exit. I don't think he can, so we'll jump back up here. See if there's any other close battles for the time being. Doesn't look like it, so we will, for the moment, jump back down. So we can see El Tonki now up into P6 and he's actually essentially in P3, I believe, with those time penalties. So if he can keep it clean for the rest of this race, I believe he should be into P3 with the time penalties that are ahead of him. So all he needs to do is keep it clean here for the rest of this race, stay within a decent distance of Anthro, and he'll be into P3. So he just needs to keep it clean and keep it going. With Hold Up Man Dan now tabbed, setting the fastest lap on those old medium tyres. It's quite impressive. Hold Up Man Dan here is now essentially into P2. So essentially, as the races we look at it right now, I believe, with penalties, we've got tabbed in P1, Hold Up Man Dan in P2, and I believe El Tonki with those time penalties in P3. Although maths has failed me in the past looking at these numbers. So anyway, that's how we're looking at it for the time being. Let's jump on board someone in a close battle here. It looks like they're a little bit spread out now. James Cruz has fought his way back from P11. Obviously, looks like we've had a few more collisions here. Delayed is just spinning all over the place here. Not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what happened to Taylor Lunacy as well. He's had to pit once again. Looks like he's just going to go for the fastest lap of this race. As we get a yellow flag in Sector 1. Delayed tyres are just shot, obviously, from spinning, and he must have spun out once again. Let's jump back up the field here. As we've got some close racing here between Power as he gets past Bill's Battlers, and he's right on the tail of Albino Josh now. Should be quite exciting through Maggots and Beckett's here. And we've got yellow flags in Sector 1 and Sector 2. It's just quite hard to give up all this action here. Looks like Delayed has just spun it again, but Power's got a great exit here. He'll have DRS, and Albino with very low ERS. He's just going to fly straight by him. So he moves up into P8. Let's jump up the field here. We've got CN Goat. El Tonki has gone past CN Goat. So he is into P5, but with the penalties, he is into P3, as I mentioned. So all he needs to do now is hold his position, and he'll have claimed essentially P3 for this race. With Hold Up Man Dan and himself moving up into P2 and P3 respectively with the penalties, which will be moving Deputy, Dilldog and Anthro back into 4th and 5th and potentially even further, but I don't think it will be too much further because those behind El Tonki and Josh Sands, as we've got an incident, Goat has gone off the track unfortunately. That's heartbreaking for him. He's going to drop down quite the field quite a fair bit there. Didn't see what happened there, but looks like there may have been a collision there as James Cruz goes past him as well now, who's fought his way up into 10th from P20, I believe. Let's jump back up to the top here, see what's going on. It's all pretty clear. Tabbed well in the lead here. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. Let's jump back down and see what's happened. Taylor Lunacy looking like he's going for the fastest lap and had a spin, unfortunately. We've got virtual safety car as well. Interestingly, I haven't seen anyone else go off the track, but did F1 boy DNF just now? I thought he DNF'd earlier. I'm not sure quite why we've got a VSC now, but interesting nonetheless. Let's have a look. A bit of controversy in the Discord with looks like Tabbed unfortunately turned into Orphan Drop, which caused him to DNF. F1 boy also unhappy with himself. Oh, an honest crook, unfortunately, despite being in P12, has got a penalty for speeding under safety car, which is a very easy thing to do. I've done it many times myself, but it's always very painful when it happens. Anyway, we've got just under 2 laps of racing left here. Tabbed F1 in P1, Hold Up Man Dan in P2, and El Tonki in P3, I believe, under the penalties. Should be then followed by Deputy Dilldog and Anthro P4, 5, Josh Sams in P6, and so on. So Tabbed's well in the clear here. Well, not well in the clear, but he's got 2-second gap added to that with the time penalties. Anthro well, not P3, more P5 with time penalties. Hold Up Man Dan is getting close to him now as well, and El Tonki not too far back from them either, who's fought back very well in this race, especially after having a spin after touching CA and Goat earlier in the race. As we get a yellow flag in Sector 1 and Sector 2 once again. Not sure what is going on back there, but we'll focus up here for now. Let's see if there's any closer battles back here. We've got Albino Josh with 5 second time penalties fighting to get past Power, so that won't really matter too much for him unless any more time penalties are picked up by Power. We've got James Cruz back in P10, who did start in P20, I believe, so he's done quite well to get up to 10 positions and, you know, get himself an okay amount of points in this first race. Wait, Honest Crook surfed his drive-through now. Let's stay on board with Hold Up Man Dan for now, who looks like he'll be coming through and claiming P2 in this race. As I mentioned earlier in the race, claiming P2 in the Tier 4 Pacific Series last season, so not surprising to see him back up there after having not a so great quality time. El Tonki and Lunacy picks up another penalty, obviously trying to push for that fastest lap point. Only 2 close battles here. We got Anthro right behind Deputy Dildog, so we'll stay on board this. Again, not mattering too much with their differing time penalties, but we'll stick on board and have a watch of them anyways. They have a bit of a battle here. We got a yellow flag in Sector 3. Oh no, who's spun now? Oh, I can see someone back there is, unfortunately, Lunacy once again. Looks like he's going for that fastest lap. Seeing Goat just goes past him. I think some of those cars are a lap down regardless. Anyway, let's jump back on board with Anthro, who's right behind Deputy Dildog here still. Again, with an extra 3 seconds of time penalty, so he's going to have to get a long way past him on this last lap to make any difference, so it's likely that he's going to stick behind him in the standings of this race. Anyway, considering it's the final lap, we'll jump on with our race leader, Tabbed F1, who looks like he's going to take out this race fairly comfortably here with Deputy Dildog and Anthro. Although saying that, I'm going to change gap to leader here, because potentially Hold Up Man Dan could get close enough to jump himself up into P1, which would be incredibly interesting. Let's go interval to leader and penalties. So Hold Up Man Dan is just oh no, sorry, Tabbed only has 3 seconds of penalties. That is my bad. So yeah, it looks like Hold Up Man Dan will come into P2, followed by El Tonki, I believe, in P3. So here we go, Tabbed F1 coming through now. Will be your race winner for race 1. And I believe it then should be Hold Up Man Dan in P2 with these penalties. It is, there we go, he moves up into P2, and it should be El Tonki now moving himself up only into P4. Okay, so he just missed out on P3 there with those time penalties. Anthro then in P5. Josh Sambin in P6, Power P7, Bills Battlers P8, James Cruz, who did very well to fight all the way back from 20th into P9, up 11 positions, so it's a great effort for him. Albino Josh in P10, Goat, who unfortunately spun towards the end of the race with the P11, delayed P12, Honest Crook in P13, and Lunacy 14, who unfortunately was leading the race much earlier on and had a few incidents. So he's dropped down into P14. I'm not sure who got fastest lap here. But yeah, thank you for joining us for race 1 here at Britain with F1. Sorry, I've forgotten his name there off the top of my head. But he's taken out P1 of this race with Hold Up Man Dan in P2 and then Dill in P3. So yeah, there you have it. Tabs F1, sorry. Forgetting his name there briefly. New name to the scene. So tapped F1, starting P2, finishing in P1. Hold up, man down up from P5 to P2. And Dippity Dilldog doing well to get up from P7 onto the podium with El Tonki just missing out there on a podium spot, but fighting back well from P10. Followed by Anthro P5, Josh Sambin P6, and Power P7. So looking at the standings, it looks like Aston Martin will be on top at this point in time, although McLaren could also be actually ahead of them based on points, with P2 and P7 finishes. Mercedes in P4 there. Looking at the standings, I think it'll be Aston Martin potentially in P2 behind McLaren, and then Mercedes in P3. Looking at those points, but obviously that will be confirmed without the week. And yeah, thank you for joining me for race 1. I may or may not be returning for later races, but if you enjoyed my commentary, feel free to follow me on Twitter, looking up Club Clifford. But for now, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.